So, um, I think this is a really fun question, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but how was your introduction to CrossFit?
Okay, so I think I came out of the womb competitive. Like I would compete like annoying as a child. I compete in anything. So I've always been very just like driven to compete. Um and I had quit gymnastics. This is when I was 16. Quit gymnastics and I tried out track for a little bit. And one of my best friends, Hithis, had actually done pole vault with you, and she had been telling me about like the sport that you were doing. And she was like, "You're kind of like crazy like her sometimes. Like we were both so active and always wanted to do like the conditioning and the extra work." She's like, "I think you'd like it." And I didn't try it, and I tried out track for another year. And then it's the summer of 2011, and you win the CrossFit Games. And CrossFit blows up in Iceland. Suddenly, like everyone's doing CrossFit. It's all over the news, all over the media, and they're showing clips of you at the CrossFit Games. And my mom and my grandma are looking at you. And I'd kind of been a little bit lost this summer. I didn't want to go back to gymnastics, didn't want to go back to track. And they're like, "Why don't you try that? Like maybe you can be good at that." And I remember I was like, "Okay, like I want to do that." And if in my mind it feels like the day after, but I went to boot camp. It's where you used to train, and I was doing the foundation class, and literally like I wanted to do what you were doing. And this is probably like one of my first foundation classes, and I show up for class, and sure enough, like Andy Thorisdottir walks in to teach it, and I remember I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "That's Annie." And like tried extra hard that class. I remember you were teaching the handstands, and on one of them you turn around and you go, "Good job, Katrin." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you remembered my name." I just think it's so fun to look back. I looked so, and I mean, I still do, look so much up to you. And I was so starstruck by you. And now we're sitting here, and you're my best friend in the entire world. It's like we have come so far. We have pushed. I never would have dreamed at that point that like we would be sitting here and that I would have been at the CrossFit Games. And it's like, yeah, those are crazy times.
It's so funny to think back to because I remember like I obviously remember like some of the foundations class, and I realized that you were really good at gymnastics. I'm like, oh, I remember talking to Elvar, like the guy that was coaching this with me. I remember talking to him and being like, it's interesting. I'm excited to see another gymnast come and like how she's gonna actually do in this. And then I remember you continued on, and you were like, I could see that you were competitive and driven. I'm like, I'm not that old at this point, but I'm still thinking like, wow, it's really weird that I see someone that like I see myself in a little bit.
Oh.
And then I remember seeing you doing bar muscle ups and being like super like aggressive in a workout. And I was like, I need to push her to compete. Like I need to see what she can do and push her to compete. So I remember going over and like talking to you about it. And that's my real like first like, all right, I'm gonna see what this girl might be made of moment with you.
God.